All right, people. Today we are looking at QQQI versus GPIQ, which is the Goldman Sachs covered call ETF that focuses on the underlying asset of the NASDAQ 100. They're both fantastic covered call options, ones that both have very stable NAVs, which is something, as you've seen in the past, I love. So without further ado, let's jump into both of these assets and see which one is preferable in my vantage point. But ultimately, they're both great options. All right, people. Firstly, I want to shout out my new Patreon members. It is fantastic to have you on board. I'm calling out and shouting out Chad, Rikav, and Meg. So welcome to the Patreon community. If you want financial coaching, exclusive content, private classes relating to finance, calculators, tools, and templates, it's 15 bucks a month. And maybe I'll adjust it only lower, never higher. And you get all this great stuff. So I would love to have new folks in the community. All right, so with that aside, without further ado, let's jump into the comparison between QQQI and GPIC or GPIQ. Firstly, what is GPIC? Okay, well, it's the Goldman Sachs NASDAQ 100 Premium Income ETF. It effectively seeks current income while maintaining the prospect of capital appreciation. So it's a covered call solution that's, it does monthly distributions. It gives you equity exposure with lower volatility, and it allows you to really diversify your source of income by utilizing a covered call strategy to build out income. Okay. Some quick insights and stats to it. Let's look at the expense ratio. So the expense ratio, the gross expense ratio is 0.35%, which is actually better than QQQI by a long shot. So that is quite attractive for GPIC. So I think that is a key factor. But now let's jump right into it and let's look at the price return for GPIC over the past year. So the price return on GPIC is in fact stronger than QQQI. GPIC has done an 8.4% price appreciation, whereas QQQI has only done almost 5%. So from a price appreciation standpoint over the past year, I would say GPIC takes the crown there. The other benefit is that GPIC does have much longer length of history, and it has shown to grow and appreciate over a longer period of time. Yes, 2003 or whatever the case may be at this point, maybe it was a down period for QQQ. So they could have had the blessing of just the period that they initially started, and maybe QQQ would have had the same appreciation. But nevertheless, GPIC, since 2023, October, has shown really great price appreciation, with this asset. And so I think it has a little healthier opportunity the way it's structured to gain price appreciation and not only stabilize its NAV, but grow its NAV relative to what QQQI has done. QQQI, not as much of a NAV grower, but has other benefits that we'll look at. Okay. So let's go back to the year mark and let's now go to total return. Let's go to total return. So over the past year, you can see that QQQI still beats GPIC from a total return standpoint. And why is that? Well, QQQI has the stronger dividend, the stronger payout. See if we can source it. Yeah, so QQQI has almost a 14% dividend yield, whereas GPIC is only 10%. So in my opinion, what QQQI is doing is it's sacrificing the price appreciation and giving you it in the form of the payout. And because these are assets that really were focused on income, that's the objective here. It's income primarily, and maybe like 20% price appreciation. QQQI certainly it wins that award by way of payout, income, yield, whereas GPIC is hovering around 10%. That being said, if you want to see, healthy price appreciation in tandem with, with a great yield, because 10% yield while appreciating, 8%, it's like an 18% growth, year to date. Actually, truly, it's 20%. Like that is a great, healthy balance and combination, right? You have the great price appreciation and you have a great dividend payout. So really, GPIC is an attractive idea, an attractive product, but QQQI has the higher yield. So it just depends on your objective. If you're really trying to source lots of income and extract as much income as possible from the NASDAQ 100, I would say QQQI. But if you want a healthy balance, want a little bit less by way of income than GPIC. And I do not believe GPIC also does the return of capital the way QQQI does it. Truly, I don't know that for sure. I want to look into that, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't do the same heavily allocation to return of capital like QQQI. So from a tax efficiency standpoint, QQQI is certainly stronger. Looking at assets under management, QQQI also takes the crown, so they have 4.2 billion, whereas GPIC has 1.36 billion. So QQQI has been much more attracting much more assets, much more volume, almost 4 times. So more people are bought into the structure and the strategy of what NEOS is doing with QQQI versus what Goldman Sachs is doing. But Goldman Sachs is a somewhat reputable institution, large institution. So you can't really downplay them. They certainly have a great reputation in the market to some degree. Okay, guys, another factor is going to be the expense ratio. So the expense ratio for QQQI is 0.68%, whereas GPIC is 0.29%, right? But we saw that QQQI had the overall greater return. So, that extra 0.3% of expense ratio is covered off by the income and by the total return of this asset. So ultimately, I'm okay with the additional expense ratio, but certainly GPIC being at 0.29% is quite attractive and one of the lower ones that I've seen for covered calls. And then let's just add in JEPQ just for the sake of it. JEPQ. Let's see if we can add in JEPQ here real quick, which is the JP Morgan version of this. And just to show you the JEPQ, really it is lagging these two, right? It's lagging it. It's still got a high expense ratio. It's also lagging GPIC and QQQI. So certainly like I'd go with QQQI or GPIC over JEPQ. Certainly QQQI is much more tax efficient than JEPQ. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, both of these are great options, QQQI and GPIC. It's really to your discretion. Do you want more of a healthy balance between price and income, or do you want more allocation towards income? I'll leave that to your decision. Okay, guys, are you invested in QQQI or are you invested in GPIC? Do you like either or? Which one do you like better? Let me know in the comments below. And please sub to the channel if you can. If you're watching and you like the value, please sub to the channel. Outside of that, guys, all the best and peace.